What if I told you that 98% of older men are blind to the exact female signals that scream attraction? It's not that women aren't showing interest. It's that most men don't know how to read the signs. And the few who do, they've mastered signal recognition, built emotional intelligence, and move with an unshakable masculine frame. This video will pull back the curtain on the desire triggers they're using and the unspoken rules you've been ignoring your whole life. Miss this and you'll keep chasing what was trying to come to you. If this message already made something click for you, please consider hitting the like button, sharing this with someone you care about, and leaving a comment. That one small action might be the exact thing another man needs today. Let's break this down, starting with the invisible language that women speak and most men never learn to hear, as signals you've been blind to all along. Most men think attraction is loud, that it shouts, flashes, or comes wrapped in obvious words. But the truth, it whispers. And 98% of older men have been deaf to that whisper for decades. These aren't complex riddles. These are female signals, subtle cues, movements, tones, looks, that when recognized, change everything. The tragic part is, they happen right in front of you, over and over. But without signal recognition, you'll just keep nodding, smiling, and missing your moment. This isn't about learning some pickup trick or memorizing phrases from a YouTube guru. This is about tuning in to what's always been there and claiming your natural edge. Women aren't hiding these desire triggers. They expect you to notice. They hope you will. But when you don't, they assume you're not the man they thought. That's when they ghost, shift, pull back, and you're left confused, wondering what changed. In truth, you never even saw the opening. Let's get brutally honest. If you're not picking up on her nonverbal cues, she's already categorizing you as emotionally tone deaf. And women don't chase men they have to teach. What she wants is a man with emotional intelligence, the ability to feel her without her needing to explain. That starts with noticing when her voice softens, when she lingers for no reason, when she repeats a joke to see if you laugh again. Attraction psychology begins where logic ends. Here's where most guys fail. They're looking for fireworks. But attraction begins with friction. A playful tease, a glance that lasts a beat too long, a comment that seems random but isn't. These are behavioral patterns rooted in subtle seduction, and they're all over your daily life. Coffee shops, elevators, DMs. The reason you're missing it isn't your age, it's your lens. You've been taught to perform, not to perceive. That ends today. Now picture this. You're talking to a woman and she casually mentions she's cold, even though it's 75 degrees. She's not testing the temperature. She's testing your masculine frame. Will you offer your jacket? Will you pull closer? Will you do nothing? That's a silent test, a perfect example of power dynamics at play. She's not being manipulative. She's measuring your energy. Most men fail this test because they don't even realize it was one. Let me tell you about Rick, 58, divorced, 2 grown kids, stuck in the nice guy phase. He told me, "Women don't flirt with me anymore." But they did. He just couldn't see it. One day, a younger coworker joked about how she never dates older men unless they can cook. Rick laughed it off. He missed the invitation. Once we trained his male awareness, everything changed. She wasn't just teasing, she was inviting him to lead. What Rick did next was simple but powerful. He leaned in, not physically, energetically. He responded with confidence, humor, and calm. No begging, no chasing. That's alpha energy. And yes, they ended up dating. Not because he forced anything, but because he finally understood the unspoken rules women play by. You don't need more lines. You need intuitive mastery, the ability to feel when it's your moment and move without hesitation. Most men don't realize they're walking into every interaction already being read. Women don't just observe how you talk. They scan your assertive presence, your posture, your pause between words. They feel your stoic mindset or your lack of it. And when you show up with neediness disguised as kindness, they know that's not masculine. That's approval seeking, and she'll politely smile while her interest quietly fades. And here, a quick pause. If this kind of content is opening your eyes to things you've never been taught before, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe now, because what's coming next, it will change the way you move for the rest of your life. Let's go deeper. The moment you lock eyes with her, she's already picking up data, your facial micro-expressions, your voice tonality, your eye contact. These aren't romantic myths. These are primal, rooted in sexual polarity and centuries of attraction psychology. Your stillness matters. Your slow blink matters. Even how long you wait before answering her question reveals your self-control. Men with emotional control speak less but are heard more. That's power. That's presence. Now here's something no one talks about. Desire triggers aren't logical. They're emotional, chaotic, and deeply instinctive. That means if you're trying to reason with attraction, you've already lost. A woman might not even understand why she feels drawn to you. But if you embody modern masculinity, a blend of calm strength and grounded charm, she'll feel it before she understands it. The question is, can you hold that energy without second-guessing yourself? One powerful shift you can make today is to stop looking for signs of interest and start listening for signs of comfort. Is she leaning in, playing with something in her hands, laughing more than usual? Those are your openings. That's when you lean in with certainty, not fear. This is the dance of neurotraction, where confidence is felt more than it's shown. Men who get this don't chase. They invite, and they know exactly when to step in. Let's be clear. The game isn't about domination or control. It's about alignment. You're not trying to trick her. You're trying to feel her, to recognize when she's offering emotional availability and match it with your own grounded energy. When you move from confidence blueprint instead of insecurity, you stop needing permission. That's when women feel safe enough to open up, flirt harder, and make it obvious. That's when the 98% start to shrink, and you rise. You can begin this shift right now, tonight even. The next time a woman makes eye contact longer than necessary, don't look away. Don't overthink. Simply hold it for half a second more. Then offer a small knowing smile. That's how you signal psychological edge. It's not about being creepy or forward. It's about showing you're present, confident, and receptive. Women are trained to notice these micro movements, and men who send them with clarity always stand out. A strong frame doesn't mean stone-faced. It means knowing your center. When she tests you through sarcasm, teasing, or even a subtle challenge, it's not a trap, it's a check. She's asking, can you hold your own without crumbling? Men with a grounded masculine purpose don't flinch. They smile. They stay calm. They respond playfully. That's how women filter. And if you fail that filter, you don't get the real version of her, only the surface. And you'll never know what you missed. Imagine you're on a first date. You're talking. She's nodding, but then she leans in slightly and brushes her hair behind her ear. Most guys ignore that, but it's not random. It's a cue, a green light in disguise. Her body is saying, I'm open. I'm curious. If your male awareness is dialed in, you catch it. If not, you keep talking about your job while she mentally checks out. Women reward men who can read between the lines, because that's where the real story is. Let's kill a myth right now. Women don't want a man who constantly performs. They want a man who's calm in his own skin, a man who carries rejection-proof energy, not because he never gets rejected, but because rejection doesn't shake him. That kind of inner stillness is rare, and when she feels it, it creates curiosity, tension, and depth. She starts wondering what's different about this one. And now she's chasing you, silently but intentionally. The mistake most men make is trying to prove their worth. They overtalk. They overshare. They overcompensate. All she wanted was your assertive presence, a sense that you're grounded, listening, and unfazed. When you can hold space without trying to entertain or impress, you demonstrate something very few men have: intuitive mastery. It tells her, I've got nothing to prove and I still win. That's magnetic. That's unforgettable. That's rare. Here's a quick exercise. Next time you're around a woman you're interested in, slow down your walk, your breath, your voice. Then just watch. Not with hunger, but with presence. How does she respond when you lean back instead of in? When you speak second instead of first? This shift alone taps into attraction psychology and disrupts her usual dynamic. You're no longer chasing. You're inviting. You're not proving. You're observing. There's a reason women say there was just something about him. That something is often subtle seduction, a calm, silent way of pulling her in without ever trying too hard. It's not always about being the loudest or most dominant. Sometimes the strongest man in the room is the quietest. He's not hiding. He's choosing when to reveal. That sense of restraint creates mystery. And mystery, that's one of the oldest desire triggers in existence. When a woman feels you're not desperately trying to get her attention, she relaxes. She opens. She shifts from analysis to emotion. That's when neurotraction kicks in. Her mind tries to explain why she's drawn to you but can't. Because it's not logic. It's energy. And it all started when you chose stillness over reaction. When you stood grounded in your masculine frame, she felt it. And for the first time in a long time, she let her guard down. Let's be real. The modern world teaches men to seek validation. From women, from apps, from likes. But you weren't built to chase crumbs of attention. You were built to carry weight. When you return to your masculine purpose, the game shifts. You stop reacting to female behavior and start directing your own. That's when women feel safe, challenged, and alive around you. Not because you're doing something, but because you're being someone she can feel. Think about the men women don't forget. They're not always the tallest, richest, or most muscular, but they do one thing better than everyone else. They notice not just her appearance, but her vibe, her rhythm, her shifts. That's signal recognition in action. And when a woman feels seen without needing to speak, she becomes intrigued. Her guard lowers. And that right there is where psychological edge begins. Not with words, but with presence. You don't need a script. You need awareness. You don't need bravado. You need stoicism. The kind that keeps you centered when things get uncertain, when she gets moody, when she pushes you emotionally. Because she will. That's part of the unspoken rules of female testing. Not to hurt you, but to see who you really are when pressure hits. And if you can stand there steady, unshaken, she'll give you a version of herself no other man has ever seen. So how do you build that steadiness? Practice being still in discomfort. Pause when you want to fix. Breathe when you want to chase. This isn't theory. It's daily practice in small moments with real people. Every time you resist the urge to overreact, you're building your confidence blueprint. You're showing the world and yourself that you're no longer moved by fear. That's the kind of man a woman leans toward, even if she doesn't understand why. Let me be blunt. Modern masculinity isn't about being emotionless. It's about being emotionally sovereign. You feel it all. You just don't act on everything. That's what separates boys from men. When you master your emotional control, you become rare. And rarity creates attraction. Period. Here's the deal. If what I'm sharing here is connecting with you, if it's making you rethink your past and see women in a whole new way, then don't hold that shift to yourself. Hit the like button right now. Subscribe and drop a comment. This is just the beginning. What's coming next will hit even deeper. It's crazy how fast things change once your awareness sharpens. You start seeing things you used to miss. The pause before she speaks, the quick glance over her shoulder, the way she lingers before walking away. These are not accidents. They're embedded in her behavioral patterns, and when you start noticing them, your world opens up. Every interaction becomes a test of your alpha energy. Not to dominate, but to remain grounded and alert. Women don't want you to chase them. They want to feel pulled toward you. That pull doesn't come from your words. It comes from your power dynamics, your ability to stay rooted while she moves. That's polarity. That's tension. And without tension, desire dies. So the question becomes, can you create space without collapsing into it? That's your edge. That's your leverage. And if you've never felt that before, get ready, because it's coming. Let me give you a challenge. For the next 7 days, don't try to get anyone to like you. Instead, show up with masculine purpose. Sit with your spine straight. Speak 20% slower. Respond after a pause. Watch what happens. You'll feel awkward at first, but then women start leaning in. That's not magic. That's attraction psychology done right. You stopped begging for attention and started commanding it without a word. Here's what nobody tells you. Being the man she desires isn't about changing yourself. It's about returning to yourself, before the people-pleasing, before the approval-seeking. Underneath all of that is your masculine frame, calm, rooted, still. When you stop performing and start perceiving, everything shifts. That's when subtle seduction becomes natural. You don't need to impress. You need to feel. And when you do, her body responds before her mind even knows why. The next time you're in a room with women, try this. Say less, observe more. Don't try to be funny. Be real. Hold your shoulders back. Keep your breathing low and slow. That's not about alpha posturing. It's about creating emotional intelligence through presence. She'll sense it. She may not even know why, but something about you will feel different, safer or powerful. And when she feels safe, she opens the door to something deeper. Women aren't complicated. They're subtle. They test not to punish, but to reveal. And when you pass those silent tests, you unlock layers of her personality no one else ever gets to see. Her playfulness, her depth, her desire. And the truth is, most men will never get there. They'll fail without knowing why. But you're starting to see. You're learning the language behind the language. the quiet rhythm of true neurotraction. You might not master this in 1 week. That's okay. Mastery isn't about speed. It's about depth. Every time you pause before reacting, every time you listen instead of impress, you build real power. You develop the psychological edge that can't be faked. And in a world full of noise, your silence becomes magnetic. That's how the 2% live. That's how they move, quietly, boldly, without begging to be noticed. So let's ask the uncomfortable question. How many female desire signals have you missed in your life, simply because no one ever taught you to notice them? Now you're learning. Now you're decoding. And the deeper we go, the more invisible truths you'll start to see. Because the most powerful rules are the ones no one speaks out loud. You've made it all the way to the end, and that already sets you apart. But now comes the real challenge. Will you actually apply this knowledge? Because knowing the female signals and understanding attraction psychology means nothing if you still react from insecurity, ignore the silent tests, or miss the desire triggers right in front of you. How many moments have slipped through your fingers simply because you didn't notice the signs? How many women could have opened up to you if only you had held your masculine frame long enough for them to feel safe? It's not too late, but only if you decide to act right now. So let me ask you, are you ready to be part of the 2% who see what others miss? Drop a comment below and write, "I see the signals now." Say it out loud, claim it, own it, and hey, thank you sincerely for watching this far. Most people won't, but you did. That means something. If this message stirred something in you, please don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, share it with a man who needs to hear it, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Because trust me, we're just getting started.